Under this overpass, there's porta potties and hand washing stations. And something you may find surprising, they're handing out cell phones to homeless folks to help keep them connected and stay informed on COVID-19. We heard a lot of loud booms and people were running in every direction, so it got very chaotic, very fast, and we felt like we needed to remove ourselves from that situation. So here we are now overlooking I-35 and traffic appears to be moving. Allison, we're at the Midtown Commons apartment parking garage right near the Crestview train station. Now, witnesses say the driver crashed into multiple cars and kept going like nothing happened, somehow driving all the way to the top of the parking garage and making his way all the way back down. Now, take a look at this. Cars have been shifted from their original parking space, and you can see pieces of their cars all over the garage floor. Here at this apartment complex at Old Torf and Pleasant Valley Road, it's quiet today with a small memorial for Mike Ramos. But on Saturday, protesters rallied here after Austin police shot and killed the man. Adela, health officials won't say, but we do know there are 46 confirmed cases, and that does include one staff member. Raul Chaboya spent over a week here at Ascension Seton Medical Center. He says receiving plasma therapy helped him win the battle against COVID-19. The stabbings and gunfire all happened here along 6th Street. And police say they expect it to be another busy night tonight. His family said he'd gone to over 50 Black Lives Matter protests, and they had no idea Saturday night would be his last. Right here on this bench right behind me, you can see there's a memorial set up to remember him. Honor Garrett, fight for Black lives, justice for Garrett. Just what some of the signs read at a vigil remembering 28-year-old Garrett Foster. Foster, a familiar face at Austin's Black Lives Matter protests, according to his family.
His wife being African American and he being a champion of justice and wanting to make sure that all people are treated fairly and equally, he was at those protests diligently to express his views against police brutality.
Although he'd been to more than 50 protests in recent months, Saturday's protest on the streets of downtown Austin would end differently for Foster. He was gunned down just before 10 p.m. on South Congress Avenue. As protesters filled the streets, witnesses say a car plowed through the crowd. APD Chief Brian Manley says Foster was shot shortly after.
Mr. Foster, who was holding an AK-47 type assault rifle, approached the driver's side window as others in the crowd began striking the vehicle. Gunshots were fired from inside the vehicle at Mr. Foster.
His aunt Karen Sorber says that her sister Sheila Foster is reeling from the loss.
She collapsed, of course. I'm a mom of 3, and I've literally told God, don't ever do this to me. Don't ever take one of my children. And to see my sister go through it, it's the worst thing ever.
Manley says the individual who shot Foster called 911 and admitted to pulling the trigger, but that he did so only after Foster pointed his rifle at him first. Police say another person returned fire at the vehicle. Both individuals have been questioned by police and released pending further investigation. Now, just minutes ago, we saw protesters walking around downtown here carrying rifles. We believe they may be headed down to APD. Now, as for Foster's family, they say a GoFundMe has been set up to help them with funeral expenses. That GoFundMe has so far raised over $100,000. Reporting live downtown, Tristan Balagtas, CBS Austin News. Vanessa Guillen's family says they have a lot of unanswered questions, and they suspect leaders at Fort Hood are hiding details surrounding her death. Supporters of Fort Hood soldier Vanessa Guillen cried out her name as they made their way from Republic Square Park to the gates of the Texas state capitol. An angry yet determined mood set the tone of the march. We want justice! We want justice! Today, the U.S. Army positively identified the remains of Guillen, which were found on a remote site in Bell County. But her family is no closer to getting closure. Her cousin Uriel Guillen Aranda says they still have many unanswered questions leading up to her death, doubting any explanations the Fort Hood Army base has given them so far.
I know that there's something fishy going on in Fort Hood, and we need to either restructure that place or we need to shut it down.
While investigators named fellow soldier Aaron David Robinson as a suspect in her killing, Aranda says Robinson is being used as a scapegoat to distract from claims she was sexually harassed by others at Fort Hood. The family is demanding more answers beyond the Army. They're calling for a congressional investigation.
She didn't know that her own Fort Hood base was going to turn their backs on her because everybody, even when she disappeared, stayed silent.
Today's protest just the beginning for Guillen's loved ones. At 20 years old, they say her life was cut too short. She simply wanted to serve her country.
She had dreams of becoming a soldier since she was 10 years old. So imagine those child just thoughts that she had of becoming a soldier. She just thought that, oh, you know, I'm gonna go out there, you know, be a soldier and just, you know, protect the people.
Now, Aranda was unable to provide details, but he says the family is working alongside lawmakers to bring justice to Guillen. Live outside a memorial has been set up on this San Marcos police patrol car. People have left flowers, they've sprinkled rose petals, and right here, a can of beer has been left for fallen officer Justin Putnam. The San Marcos Police Department says it lost one of its finest. 31-year-old Justin Putnam was gunned down Saturday as he responded to a domestic violence call at the Twin Lakes Via's apartments. Two others, officers Franco Stewart and Justin Mueller, were also shot.
As they entered, he ambushed them. He was prepared, ready for them to come in, and started shooting immediately, and there was nothing they could do to escape the gunfire.
Interim Police Chief Bob Klett was noticeably shaken up at a press conference earlier today. He held back tears as he identified 46-year-old Alfredo Perez de la Cruz as the suspect. He says de la Cruz was prepared to be met with gunfire.
The officers had their body armor that they normally wear. I'd like to mention also that part of his preparation for the officers coming in, the suspect did as well.
Police say de la Cruz took his own life, but not before firing shots at the three officers. Stewart and Mueller are in critical condition at Ascension Seton Hayes and Kyle. Klett remembered Putnam as a faithful officer, a 5-year veteran of SMPD who left behind a fiancée. His father, a veteran of the Austin Fire Department. And in a text message, Officer Putnam's sister, Kelsey, said in part, quote, "I never imagined this could happen. He was so strong." People like San Marcos local Adrian Corza have flowed in and out near City Hall at Putnam's makeshift memorial to pay their respects to a young man they say is gone too soon.
I think it's kind of difficult to really kind of place yourself in such a position as he was, not knowing what lies behind walls.
A friend described Putnam as an amazing brother, son, and police officer. Police say it appears de la Cruz operated under multiple aliases. They're still working to find out if he had a criminal history. The Texas Rangers are taking the lead on this investigation. In San Marcos, Tristan Balagtas, CBS Austin News.